Getting into joy making can be really expensive, so in the beginning it's important to just get your basics and try and save as much money as you can so that you can spend on materials and stones if you're wanting to learn stone setting. For me, the first year was just doing what I could with the least amount of tools, so I pretty much only had my saw and my bench peg and just those basic tools, a torch and things like that. But there will come a time where you have all of those basic tools that you need, and you might be looking to upgrade those tools or even invest in tools that can make your job easier, make you faster, make you more productive, all of those things. I've made videos on the basic tools for silversmithing, basic tools for wax carving, but today we are not talking about basic tools or affordable tools. Today we are talking about the tools that are worth the splurge, the tools that I do not regret spending the money on. I'm going to show you what those tools are and why I love them so much, and maybe I'll put the price down at the bottom too, just so you guys have an idea. But if you are looking to splurge on your next tool, have a good investment, the buy once cry once method, then this is a good video for you, and let's get started on one of my favorite ones. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Adriana and I've been running my business Matera Made for 4 years now. I was silversmithing 3 years ago and then wax carving about 2 years ago, and then we're coming up on a year of casting my own work. I recently became full-time in my jewelry business, and so now I make videos on my YouTube channel about my days here in the studio. I do share some tools with you guys every now and then and some tips, as well as business tips and kind of an array of business jewelry making stuff. So yeah, that's me, and let's get into all the tools. So the first one, and probably my favorite one on the list, is my Fordham pendant motor. This is the Fordham SR series pendant motor, and it comes with the foot pedal so you can control the speed with your foot. It's also good for safety, so if you don't ever wear your hair in a ponytail when you're sanding and polishing like me, and it ever gets caught in your hair, you can very quickly turn that speed off and chop your hair off. I love this pendant motor for so many reasons. Obviously, it just works very, very well. It's super powerful. There are times where I'm sanding and polishing for hours and it's never given me any trouble. The second reason that I love this is because there's so many attachments that come with the pendant, well, they don't come with a pendant motor, that can be used with the pendant motor. There are things that are made by Fordham themselves, there are things that are made by third parties, but there's just so many different tools that you can use with this pendant motor. So although it does have a really high ticket price, it honestly comes in handy for so many things. I use this for sanding and polishing, drilling holes. I use it on a belt sander, which I'll show you in a second. I can use this to set stones with a hammer handpiece. So that is where the hand pieces come into play. This pendant motor gives you different options for hand pieces. I know that their flex shafts have some differences in them. I'll try and put them here. I know that this one is like the key tip, so it allows me to have the quick change handle. So all you do is you just lift up this lever and then close it, and you can swap your tips out very quickly. It makes me so efficient. Before I invested in this Fordham pendant motor, I was using a Black & Decker like pendant motor, but it was so chunky and so heavy. So whenever I would sand for hours, my hand would hurt so badly from just the weight and the size of the Black & Decker, whatever it was. So I have never, ever, ever regretted buying this thing. I love the hand tip that I chose, the quick change, quick release. I'll have all of this listed. But the second reason why I chose this pendant motor was because of the hammer handpiece. I set a lot of stones, and so I've never set stones with like a hammer hammering the end of like a bezel rocker or anything like that. I've only ever used this once I started getting into stone setting, like real stone setting, and I love it so much. And I couldn't use this on anything but this Fordham pendant motor, but pretty much it has a reciprocating action thing on the inside, and it allows you to hit your bezel setting so that you can set stones that have like a thicker setting. But I love this tool so much. It also lets me use a line punch forge, so I put that hammer hand piece on, and then instead of the normal tips that the hammer handpiece came with, you can attach the line punch forge and use it to help you engrave, and so that's a third-party attachment. I love how like universal this is. I think that if you were to buy any tool, if you were to splurge on any tool, that possibly this could be the one, just because of how many other tools it can connect to. So I love this pendant motor. It's my baby. So we were talking about the Pendant Motor and I mentioned the belt sander, and for those of you that sand a lot like I do, I cast a lot of my work, and so I have to cut these pieces off of these sprue trees. I don't know if you can see this, but it leaves a little knot out where I connected the branch to the piece. I used to have to sand all of those by hand with this teensy tiny little piece of sandpaper on this attachment, and it would just run out so quickly. I do have days where all I'm doing is sanding and polishing, and so I could burn through one of these in a day. This belt sander has saved me so much time and so many little wheels. It goes by way faster sanding my pieces on there than using this little brush. This is what the belt sander looks like. You've probably seen me use it in my videos if you've watched my videos. It attaches right here to my Pendant Motor with this little quick release thingamajig, and you just use the pedal on the Fordham to control the speed of your belt. It just sands so quickly. It comes with a bunch of different belts so that you can have different grits, but I love this thing so much, and it's become one of the most used things in my studio by far, and I definitely wish I would have had it sooner. So if you are sanding a lot and you're finding it to be tedious and you're just not enjoying it, something like this might be good for you. The next tool that I was super happy that I splurged on, and I got it not too far after this Pendant Motor, it was on my wish list for a really long time, is the GRS Encore vise. I love this vise so much because there's not a lot of obstructed material around it. Like, ball vices are so nice and they do have their purpose, which I don't know. It's hard to know if you should do a ball vise or one of these. I find that working with thermal lock is better in here because you have all this flat surface area. But in general, for stone setting, this Encore vise is super comfortable. I'm gonna say this is the one that I would splurge on though, because I love the whole system of GRS. They have this mounting plate that you can buy and you mount it to your desk, and there are so many interchangeable tools that come with it as well. So you just slip it right here on this block. This just holds your rings really nicely and you can move it around. It's very comfortable in your hand. You can twist the knob around, and it's just very nice for those days where all you're doing is stone setting rings in particular. I cannot set earrings on this. I can't set like necklace pendants, and so that is the downfall of this Encore. If you're looking for something like all the way around, because I remember when I first bought this, my thought was, what's the big difference between a ball vise and something like this? And now that I got this first, I know that that is the difference. In my opinion, maybe someone's been able to set earrings and necklaces on this, but I couldn't. I found that my thermal lock was better on here than on here. But having said that, this is an amazing tool of really good quality that I use so much because I do work with rings more than I work with earrings and necklaces. I just think that this GRS system is such a good system to have. It's a lot like Apple, where all of their devices sync up so well together that it makes it more convenient to have an iPad, an iPhone, and a MacBook rather than an Android phone and an iPad, if that makes sense. So this tool is very similar to the Fordham in the way that there's so many other ways to use this whole GRS system. But I do love this Encore vise, and I've had it for about 2 years now, and I've never ever regretted this purchase. So this is something that I wished I would have started doing a long time ago, and I love all my casting equipment, but this is not on the list of things that are worth the splurge. Although they are worth the splurge, I would say that most of you aren't interested in casting your own work. For a lot of people, it's not efficient for them to cast their own work, and I totally get it. This was just a wish list thing for me. What I'm talking about though is my wax injector. I wish I would have started making molds of my jewelry a long time ago, because right now I'm kind of in catch-up mode of making those master molds of my jewelry. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I've been making silicone molds of my jewelry so that I can inject them with wax and create multiple copies within seconds. You do not have to have casting equipment to have a wax injector, inject your wax molds, and send them away to be cast. By making my own molds and having my own wax injector, it has saved me so much time and money and anxiety, and has made my work more consistent. But this is the RB Wax Injector. This one is connected to an air compressor underneath my desk, and so pretty much I just pressurize the pot and then I push the opening of my mold right here, and I'll insert a little video so you can see, and then I just inject it, and then I can take the piece out and voila, I have the piece that I originally made, but a copy for the orders that came in. I've been using this wax injector for I think about 9 months now, maybe a little bit less, but I love it so much. It's been great to work with. It's been very consistent. It is on the pricier side, and they do have lower price options for wax injectors, but if you're looking for, again, the buy once cry once method, I genuinely think that this is a good wax injector that's going to last a lifetime. On the note of making molds, you can make your own molds at home if you have some sort of vacuum setup to vacuum bubbles out of the silicone. My Kaya cast has a vacuum side and a casting chamber vacuum side, but if you have no intentions of ever casting in-house, you can just buy a vacuum table to be able to vacuum out those air bubbles. But if you would not like to do that either, a lot of places that cast your work, if you're wax carving or if you're printing in 3D, if you're 3D printing resin work, usually they can make molds for you. So you can also have them make a mold of your masterpiece, and then they can send you that mold, and you can have the injector at home so that as you get orders, you can just inject that mold over and over and over again. So again, you don't have to make your own molds and have a vacuum table and all of those things. If you're trying to keep it minimal, just pay someone to make the mold for you and get the wax injector yourself. I also think that there are some places where they will keep the mold for you and they will wax inject it for you based on how many orders you have. But as a small jeweler, I don't know about you guys, maybe you have enough orders to do something like that, but it's just going to cost you more money to have them inject it for you, whereas if you could do it yourself, it's going to save you a little bit. Totally up to you and how you want to frame your business and how you want to set up your business, but I wish I had something like this sooner so that I could just bam, 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 create all 6 or however many and be done with it. So the next tool that's definitely worth a splurge is a quality rolling mill. Durston kindly gave me this rolling mill a few months back. It's the Agile C110, and I used to have a cheaper rolling mill from Amazon, which it did the job, but it just wasn't very consistent. My rollers were never even, like the left side was always higher than the right, and it was one that you really had to manipulate and play with to try and get it right, although I could never calibrate mine correctly. So when they sent me this, honestly, it was like an upgrade that I didn't know I needed, and when I used it, I was blown away. This is a combination mill, so one half of the roller is a flat roller for rolling out like wire or rolling out sheet, and the other half has the option to do half round wire or square wire. But one of my favorite things about it is just the arm and how much leverage you have. I remember my other rolling mill had a very short arm, so turning it, I had to do probably 2 or 3 turns for every half turn or 1 full turn of this rolling mill. It's just such a well-made tool. I know that this is something that's going to outlive me. So if you're someone who is melting down ingots and rolling out sheet, rolling out wire, all of those things, creating your own wire, having a quality rolling mill is going to help you out so much. My next favorite tool, which is for all you wax carvers out there, is another one that I didn't know that I needed to upgrade. And this one was gifted by Pepe Tools, which is really sweet of them. They've been a big supporter of my channel. This was gifted by them. I used to use the RB wax pen. It's an electric pen, and it was a great pen. It didn't have any interchangeable tips though. It was pretty basic, just heated up and allowed you to adjust the temperature. But then they sent me this one, and it was like going from my 2011 Toyota Corolla to like a Tesla. This pen is so nice and more high-tech than I would have ever thought I needed. It's got 4 interchangeable tips so that you can create different patterns or pick up more or less wax. So some of the tips I use to create like the full piece, and then others I use for detailed work or repair work. This pen gets super hot, so you can adjust the temperature up or really low. But my favorite thing about this pen, other than just how cute it is and it glows and all that stuff, you know, my favorite thing about this pen is that there's an option to make it to where it stays hot all the time. So you can see there's an orange light right here. So that means it's just going to continuously heat up. And then the other option is to engage the sensor in the handpiece. So there's no orange light, which means it's not heating up. And then when you grab it, the orange light turns on, so it knows that you're touching it. I don't know if it's like a heat sensor or what, but it works flawlessly. And honestly, I wasn't even sure if I was going to need to use that setting or why I would need to use that setting, but it's so handy because if you're a wax carver, then you know that you're constantly picking up and putting down your pen. That just means that when you put it down, you don't need to turn your unit off every single time. You just let go of it and it stops heating up, which is so convenient, and I'm sure will prolong the life of your pen and your tips. So I absolutely love this pen so much. I use it on a daily basis. I've been using it now for probably 3 months, and I've never had any troubles with it. I love it. I adore it. If you're looking to upgrade your wax pen, or maybe you're using a spirit lamp and you want to get an electric pen, I genuinely think that you will love this pen and that it'll last a really long time. I need to show you guys a little friend that's been hanging out on my desk that I haven't touched him yet because honestly it kind of freaks me out, but now he's kind of cute just sitting there, so let me show you what I'm talking about. He's been hiding behind my wax pen. Can you see him? It's this little shell of a spider. I don't know if he just died and his body rotted out and just the shell of him, or if he molted. Like, do spiders molt? I don't really know. But he's been hanging out there for a while and I haven't done anything with him, and I just don't want to touch him, honestly. Maybe we should give him a name and let him stay. Okay, so the final tool that's worth the splurge, and something that I treat like a baby, I love these things so much and I'm so grateful to have them, are a jeweler's bench. When I first started, there was no way I was gonna throw all my money into a jeweler's bench because I needed to get all those basic tools and materials. But once I got a jeweler's bench, it felt, I remember how unreal it felt. It made me feel like an imposter, like, why do I have one of these? I shouldn't have one of these. I was just now sitting on the floor making jewelry, and now I'm at this beautiful like wooden bench, and I love it so much. I don't know if I could ever go back. Having said that, you do not need a jeweler's bench to do this work. I used a computer desk for a few years. I sat on the floor and used an old coffee table. I know people that use like old cabinets or like those roll-up desks, and maybe they cut it, and like you can alter any piece of furniture if you're handy or you know someone who's handy to create your own jeweler's bench. But there's something about owning an actual jeweler's bench. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but when you sit behind it, it just feels so good. I've had mine for about 3, maybe 2.5 years now, almost 3 years, and I still get so happy when I sit behind my bench. But anyway, not only is it worth it because of just how it feels to have one, I know it sounds so shallow, but it feels so good to have a bench, but it brings all of your work up high. All those other places that I was working at, I was slouching over, hunching over. I had no place to catch my silver dust or my wax dust, and a jeweler's bench just solves all those problems. It raises your work up higher, it contours to your body so that you can sit up closer to your bench. You've got the catch tray, not to mention the storage on the sides for your metals and waxes and saws and blades and all the things. It's just meant for this work. So if you're looking for something to invest in, if you're sitting here for long periods of time and working, having a jeweler's bench is going to make it so much more comfortable to do it for longer periods of time, and it's just an enjoyable experience. What can I say? My first jeweler's bench was this Durston bench that I got on Facebook Marketplace. I love it. It's great. It's got a solder tray. It's got oodles of drawers on the sides. It's got a really big counter surface. But I did get it on Facebook Marketplace, so I got it for a lot cheaper than what it actually retails. So do check, you know, online places like secondhand stuff to save some money. If your budget is a little bit higher, this Durston one is great. It's the Double Superior Goldsmith bench. And then I have this other bench that Pepe Tools gave me, and it is my wax bench, and I love it so much. This bench is a more modest size. It's got 3 drawers on the side, all the same type of storage, all the same comfort. So it's got the built-in bench peg and like the little handlebars. And a lot of people that are doing this from home don't have the space for a larger bench. So having something that's a little bit more compact is going to make it more realistic for you to put it in a spare bedroom or wherever you're making jewelry. So I love both. Upgrade, treat yourself, get yourself a jeweler's bench. But that is it. Those are all the tools that I'm so glad that I have, that I own, that made my life easier. And yes, they are a little bit pricey, but again, buy once, cry once. I do believe in that sometimes. But also remember that if you're just starting out and you're watching this video, you do not need all of these things to start and make beautiful jewelry. You can do it with the bare minimum. These are just things that you can upgrade to that will make your life easier or make you faster at your work. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll have everything listed in the description if you're looking for where to get these things. And let me know what your favorite tool is that you've ever upgraded to in the comments. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It really, really helps my channel grow. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.